Hey team, it's Daniel again with the Brazos Valley Boars and Varmits. So, we're going to do episode number 3 of our podcast. Guys, I know it's been a little while, but things have been crazy, and so no excuses, let's get to it. So, I've got with me my good buddy Dustin, who has been doing a lot of the shooting over the past couple of years with me, and then a friend that I met through him, Matt. And so tonight, we're going to talk about shooting sticks. Alright, Matt. You have the least amount of experience out of any of us.
Yep.
What is your favorite shooting stick?
The only one that I really use is what I've got over here.
Go ahead and get it. You ain't gotta do all that stuff. Just bring it on over.
All right. It's a tripod. It's got a clamp head on it.
So you have the Kaufjaeger Reaper grip, and you've got the. Is this steel or is it aluminum? What are the actual?
Aluminum.
This is aluminum. Okay. So it's aluminum legs, a little bit hefty, but great solid grip here. What are the things you really like about it?
I like the grip on it.
Okay.
You know, obviously, like you said, it's pretty hefty,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you a pretty sturdy platform.
What about your dislikes? What are some things you don't like about it?
As far as the spread on the legs,
Okay.
when you're out in the dark and trying to spread it around, it's not ideal
Okay.
for
Now, when you say trying to spread it around, are you talking about having it spread around while you are trying to set up for the shot, while you are in a hurry because there's the critter right there, or while you're trying to walk around with it? What's or just all the above? Or talk to me a little bit more about that.
more about like scanning around with it. So when you're trying to go 360 with it,
Okay.
it's you might trip over it in the dark.
So once you're already on it and then you're trying to move around some, so basically just it getting in the way of your legs as you're trying to get a full viewing.
Right.
You know, this, we're not going to get too much into this tonight, but you know what would really help solve that? An actual separate scanner. You know? And that's
Yeah.
going to be a different video for another time. But think about that. If you had the rifle in here and you didn't have to mess with it, the entire night scanning, but instead what you do is you had an actual dedicated scanner,
Right.
you couldn't, that'd be a lot.
Yeah, that would definitely be more helpful.
But at the same time, I mean, most working Americans can't, man, we're just glad we got a thermal scope, so. So you don't like the legs. What are some of the things you don't like about it so much?
Having to turn the knob on it and
Okay.
adjust the up and down
Okay.
as far as where your rifle's actually aimed.
Gotcha. Yeah, because if you got one elevation from a hillside over here versus where it's rolling over there or something else different, it's just lower. It's got to be different down here versus up there, and you got to make all those
Right.
changes once you actually see something. Okay, Dustin, I know this has been your go-to for several years. What would you have to say about it different?
So the Kaufjaeger grip is fantastic.
Uh-huh.
The slick tripod that I use is just bar none.
Yep.
I think, and I thought they were great until I used one of Daniel's sticks here. Okay, and once I used one of Daniel's sticks there, that's kind of about the time my mind changed. There's two different styles of hunting.
I'm going to stop you real quick.
Go
These
ahead.
are the Primos Gen 3 trigger sticks, tripod tall.
Okay.
Keep going.
So there's two different styles of hunting. There's the style of going out and chasing the pigs, and that's great. And when you're out chasing the pigs, I think something like this works fantastic. It's lightweight, it's easy. You pull a trigger, your legs drop down to whatever height you want them to, and you're ready to go. When I first started hunting with Daniel, I used the Kaufjaeger with this same setup here, and to get all the legs set up, you have to pull levers out, and you have to make everything the right height. You have to set it all up. Now, stability wise, that Kaufjaeger grip is unbeatable. You can't beat it. Once set up, I'm most accurate, but getting set up takes me so much time. We often find that the pigs are running off. So
did you just say you're the best shot?
Yeah, I did. You heard that right? All right. On that tripod.
Okay.
Okay. I'm also the guy that free-handed a boar at about 75 yards with about a 15-pound rifle, right? Okay, I'm not gonna get into that though. But
Was it running? Were you running upside down?
no, I was sitting still. Y'all were drinking Gatorade.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
That is right.
right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
No, but stability-wise, you can't beat the Coffee grip. You can't. But there's two different types of hunting: standing still, waiting on something to come to you, and going out searching for that something. I think your tripod depends on the style of hunting that you're after. If you're after hogs and you're out chasing them down in the field, I think one of these trigger sticks is phenomenal. You can't beat them. Just drop them in the ground, get ready, shoot, and go from there. I think if you're after coyotes or you're after calling pigs in, then I think the Coffee grip set up in a mobile or in a stationary spot is the way to go.
I've got these Kopfjäger Reaper grip, same exact setup, but I have the carbon fiber legs, and so they are significantly lighter than the aluminum legs. But man, getting the legs spread out and set to the right height, you have each one of these knobs that you then have to loosen and tighten. And I get it. I see guys that are out there doing it, and obviously they have dedicated themselves to getting good at it. And that's going to be one of the next things that I want to do, is get dedicated to being good at this. Because it seems like every time that I take this thing out, well, all of a sudden, there's the critters that we want to shoot, and so I don't have the time to figure this thing out, and I need to put in that prep work ahead of time, but I just haven't. But I tell you, the easiest thing really are these trigger sticks, because you just push all three out with your hand, and then you just set them down, you pull the trigger, get them however high you want them. If that's too high, well, you just do that. If that's a bad angle, you just lean them forward, lean them sideways, whatever you want to do. And then if you need to, just move one of these legs out of your way, and everything moves super slick, smooth, nothing to it. But like you just said, the stability goes with the Reaper grip. Now, you can take this Reaper grip and put it on the trigger sticks. I have watched myself do it, and that is horribly unstable, because this ball head that's right here, made for this, is made for this, versus this handle and ball and trigger stick is not made to take all this weight that's torqued off to the side over here like you got on the Reaper grip. This is made basically just for straight down, and putting, a full-sized AR-10 with all the shebang, thermal and silencer and all that, that's about all the weight that this thing wants to take. In fact, if you try using this as a walking stick, you can easily bend it. I have bent some of these before, and once you bend them, man, these things are basically done. You might as well just throw them away. I would hang on to some of the parts, because if you ever break something else, then you could exchange some of the parts. I say that digging into these is not real fun. It's not easy to do. They're not made for that. In fact, all the YouTube videos on how to repair these just say don't break them, is what they really say. Also, if you drop these in the mud, you get any mud in that slick action, these things they're done. They're toast.
No, I can't tell you on the Coffee grip with the Slick 700 tripod setup. I have ran that thing through the mud.
Mm-hmm.
I have. We've dropped it off the back of the Gator multiple times.
Yep.
Went back and found it later.
Yep.
That particular setup is a hardy setup.
Yep.
It is not meant for your delicate shooters. That is meant for those that are out to shoot and to hunt, if you have the time to set them up.
Oh yeah, and so if you put this grip on top of here, you'll break this entire ball head.
Really?
This is not made for that sideways torque. You'll just break it. You'll get away with it for a little bit, but this thing will just snap and break.
I really think that for your avid hunter, it all depends on the kind of hunting they're doing.
Yep.
Are they after sitting on the porch waiting on something to come up with them? If they are, then your Coffee grip with your stationary mount is where it's at. If you're out trying to chase pigs down and you're out after something, then your trigger sticks, where you can drop the stick down and let it rock and roll. weight wise, your trigger sticks are obviously lighter, which makes it nice for mobility. Your coffee agar grip with the setup that I have that I run is substantially heavier.
Yeah, you got the aluminum legs.
Yes, yet I've done.
Have you held these?
I have, but it's still not as light as the trigger
Oh, for sure.
It's still not. Your head up here is very heavy. But what I would tell you is even that being said, I would rock and roll. It all depends on what you're out hunting. And I told you this the other day. Even though I run the coffee agar grip with those legs, I would personally like a set of trigger sticks just because the hunting that I do with you is a lot of mobile hunting.
Well, and so it really the two big ideas it comes down to are mobility versus stability.
Correct.
You know, if you are going to be in this one spot, you're going to be in a deer stand, and you're just going to shoot out this window, man, you cannot beat these right here. But if you're going to be up and about, walking around, carrying stuff, the mobility is with the Primos. I have not used any of the Bog Pod ones, but I've been told that the Bog Pod are somewhere in between these as far as weight and stability. However, at the same time, I'm more of an extreme guy. Like, it's got to work. It's got to do its job. Right. But I want what's the lightest one or what's the most stable one. The Bog Pod may be somewhere good in the middle. I can't speak to it. I've just never used it. I don't want something that's kind of good. I want something that's really good. And if that means I got to sacrifice something I'm okay with sacrificing, well, then I'm okay with it.
The other thing I can say on the coffee agar grip that I run is sighting rifles in. You know,
yeah.
I don't have to have a sled. This works as everything.
Mm-hmm.
With this bipod or with this tripod and this head. I run sighting rifles in. I do the whole nine. So
yep.
No, it has a multi-purpose. They also make different styles of heads for them to clip into Picatinny rails.
Absolutely.
They make or pieces that come out that have cameras and things of the likes if you're into that kind of daytime shooting. But sighting in, this particular coffee agar grip has made sighting rifles in just par none.
Well, even cleaning too.
Cleaning rifles, yes, that is very true. Matt brings up a good point. I clean a lot of my rifles through this coffee agar grip. I will pull the lower off and clean barrels and let them sit pinched in this grip here, and I don't have to worry about them falling down. I can clean them out, put a towel on the bottom side or a catch can, and not have to worry about holding the rifle while I'm pulling boar snakes through them the whole nine. These things have a multiple use for them. That's why I think when you get down into being an avid hunter, you should probably have a series of both or something similar to them. What do you think?
I think the biggest reason more people don't have those is because of the price.
Price is a huge point.
That is a big price point, because if you have this whole setup with, I don't know how much the aluminum legs are, but the carbon fiber ones.
$100 in the aluminum legs.
No, this whole thing right here is $700.
Well, the $100 in the legs.
So the legs are $100.
Yes, sir.
And then with the head, the ball, how much is that brand new?
But the way it sits, the head, the ball, and the legs probably runs you
like
about $475, $500.
Yep. And then this one with the carbon fiber legs, same stability, but it is a lot lighter. But you're paying $700 for it versus these are like $130.
Yeah.
$130. And now if I going on down the line, you can go with the monopod. They make the bipod in the Primos. I literally have zero use for that bipod, but I have tried to lighten the load as much as possible, and I went down the path of using the monopod. This yoke is interchangeable. You can just pop it off of this one and on there. They also come with a camera plate, so it's got that I think it's 1/4 inch thread.
1/4
Yeah, okay, and it comes up out so you can thread a camera on there. So which it's multi-use if you wanted to use it for a spotting scope or a just a regular camera. It works for that stuff too. I do miss how on the Gen 2s when you screwed the yoke off, there was the thread sticking out, and so you didn't have two different plates to keep up with. You just had to keep up with that yoke. But anyways, I have gone and used the monopods before. I like them. They work just like they should, but man, if you do have the chance to set up quickly, you don't have any option with this one. It's just it is what it is. Versus if you can go out there, you can use the entire tripod like a monopod. Just keep it all together, keep the wrap together down at the bottom, and if you got to just shove it in the ground as a pinch and just use it as a monopod, you can do that. So that's a great option. But if you have the time, just 10 seconds to set it up, you can do that as well. But with these legs, they hit each other. I mean, how many times have we done that? And then all of a sudden the hogs start looking up and they're like, "Hey, what's that sound?" And maybe that hurts us, maybe it doesn't. But with the monopod, you don't have to take that risk. Also with those Kaffjägers, that's not a problem either. But if you're going to run these, you got to be really careful not to be banging these aluminum legs together because they make all that racket. You were talking about on the Kaffjägers, you can get that Picatinny rail grip. The only people that I know that run that, actually I don't know them personally, but the only people I've seen that run those are also running scanners. Like we talked about, that this thing is dedicated to sitting on there. I don't have to try to figure out how to get my Picatinny rail on my rifle hooked up with the Picatinny rail that's on the top of this ball over here, and then make all that line up together at the last second as this coyote's coming into the call, or this hog just came out of that tree line that you weren't expecting from, and now you got to fumble with all this stuff. Whereas this Kaffjäger grip, you can just unscrew it, just set it down in there, and then just tighten it, and it's really quick. It's by comparison. So the only people I see that run those ones are going to be the guys that actually have a separate dedicated scanner.
The one thing I wish Kaffjäger would come up with is a quick detach for these things, a QD mount for the bottom Picatinny rail, and you could just set your rifle in there and click it in, and you're set.
I think so.
Kaffjägers?
Well, hang on. I may be thinking of the Zero Delta.
Are they quick detach mount?
I think they are.
Okay.
I think they have one just similar.
Well, I mean, I think if that's the case, then the quick detach would be a lot faster than trying to spin this thing down, because you spin it down, and if you're not tight enough, then the pan tilt doesn't work, and you set your rifle down, and the whole rifle falls out.
I think that's mostly the extra money that you're spending on it.
On doing the quick attach detach?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm doing the Picatinny one.
But yeah, it has you just lock it in without having to
Well, if
screw
that
it
was the
down.
case, I mean, so this is nice for your wood stock rifles. Okay, if you're running a wood stock that doesn't have a Picatinny rail on the bottom, this was fantastic. This runs any rifle you can put into it.
Versus if you take your dad's 270 out and you got that Picatinny rail, it doesn't work. You know, you got the Picatinny mount here, it doesn't work.
Correct.
Versus my dad's 270 can just fit right in here. That being said, I thought that the rail one had this same knob that you had to tighten up, and
I might be wrong about that, but I'm
gonna have to look into that, and I'll edit that in down on the bottom.
I thought it was a quick detach, but I might be wrong about that.
Okay, so that quick attach, that Picatinny rail, again is mainly and only an option for people who have a tactical AR style rifle that's going to have that rail on the bottom. Yeah, I just love using that word tactical because it's not overused at all. Versus again, my dad's 270, you can just put it right in there and it works for everything.
So this particular head,
and my kid's 1022, your girls' guns, whatever that is, it all just it works in this one. That's why I like this one so
everything
much.
fits in here, but it's not for speed. This Kaffjäger grip is not meant for speed at all. This is meant to set up and sit and wait.
Stability, mobility.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
This is for 100% stability, and that's why I use it for sighting rifles in, Daniel. I mean, to be honest with you, I could use something like this to sight rifles in, but I would not be near as accurate as I would with this. This is borderline sled material here.
I hunt out of an actual nice deer stand. I hunt out of my truck.
Correct. Correct. Or I hunt out of the gator, and I hunt out of sitting on the back porch.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing there.
Yeah, this is definitely, if I had a back porch shot, this is the one I would definitely grab. But you see it every night whenever we go out. I'm rocking these things. Even if I do grab these at the last second I set them down and picked these ones up. But if I had a dedicated spot, man, I know this is where we're going to be, this is how it's going to turn out, then right there.
I think what it boils down to is your style of hunting.
Absolutely.
I've hunted two different ways. I've hunted with Daniel, and most of our time is spent in a golf cart going from place to place, point A to point B. And we get out to point B, and we get out of the golf cart, and we walk around, we scan, and we don't see anything. Okay, we're back in the golf cart again. That's where these trigger sticks come in handy. Now, I've also hunted where I sit, and I've actually hunted with this when we were out at my parents' place. We hunted where we sat still and we called hogs in. Now, if you're doing that, the coffee Jaeger grip is where to go, because you're not moving. When you're set up and you're set, and you know the pigs are going to be coming from a certain direction through the woods, and there's nothing coming from behind you, this is the way to go. So I think in the full spectrum of things, every avid hunter should probably have a mix of both, if not one or the other.
You know, and like you said, if you know where the hogs are coming from,
Correct.
that's a big if.
Yes.
Because I understand that, like, if you're on a property line, just put your back up to the property line. You can't shoot what comes behind you anyways, right?
Correct.
And so the only things you could shoot as is what's in this window in front of you. But like whenever we go out to Charlie's,
We have 1,100 acres.
it's, I mean, what direction they coming from? Any of them? I mean, good. We can shoot in all directions. You know,
And that's what I'm saying. There's a use for both of these machines, and it depends on the kind of hunting you're doing.
Yep. So guys, I think we've beat this one as much as we can, and I'm just going to leave it there. That it's either going to be stability versus mobility. Yeah, these ones, they cost quite a bit more, but you are getting what you pay for. There's nothing wrong with these. I love them. They're my go-to. Man, I just don't know what else to say about it. You got anything else you want to throw in?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy me a set of the trigger sticks.
You don't have a pair of these yet?
I don't. I wish I
I don't
did.
either. I wish I did too.
They're like $130 on Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not bad, and I do wish I had a set. I love my setup that I have, but there's just a time and a place for everything.
You know, the only thing I really don't like about them is that right there. Or if you're walking and you got your rifle in one arm and then you got these in the other arm, and you hit the rifle on the silencer and it makes that sound. But that's a training thing. You just train yourself to not do that.
That is another nice thing about the fixed mount, is that you can just put it on your shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot heavier, but
Yeah, you watch those guys
it's
in
not
those
as
videos.
mobile, but you can carry it. You know.
Well, and really, when you watch, some of those YouTube guys and their shots, and I sit there and I study this so much, like, what are they doing that makes them such a better whatever it is than I am right now? And I get a lot of it has to do with, man, they've been doing this for years and years and years, and I just don't have that time behind the camera, or that time behind the trigger, whatever that is. But you look at the tools that they're using, and man, a lot of the most steady guys out there, they're just walking around with these things and scanning. Then they know how tall they want these. The weirdest part is just trying to change this elevation at the last second. It's like, oh man, I need 3 more inches here. It's like, that wasn't enough. Versus those trigger sticks are so much faster. I would really love to talk to somebody who's lost a lot of pigs because they were trying to set this up and it just took too long.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm right here. What do you want to talk about?
I'm right here too.
We're both here.
So okay, perfect. How long does it take for you all to set this up?
So it takes from the time, even with a rifle pinned in that top, and you don't have to set a rifle in. So a lot of times, and I've hunted with you a lot in the past, I will set the rifle into the grip, tighten that thing down, and throw it over my shoulder.
Yeah.
It still takes a good 15-20 seconds to get this set on the ground and legs mounted right, because the problem is you can get it set close.
That fast? 15 seconds?
And you're right in this location, but in order to get it really set up right, you really have to walk around the entire tripod, because if your elevation starts to change, yes, you can pan tilt it, but if your legs are off, now your pan tilt's way up. You see what I'm saying? So that's what throws everything off.
So I understand, like, if you already had it pinned in there and you set it down and your elevation was right, that's probably 15 seconds.
If you're on flat ground.
Yeah, but I would say that if I'm walking and I got my trigger sticks, it's going to take me 10 or 15 seconds to undo this strap down at the bottom, so that way nothing, all it hits the legs when I don't want it to, and I spread these out, set them down, get the trigger how high I want it, and then I want that one leg out a little bit more. Okay, let's change that elevation a little bit. Man, I just ate, then I get my rifle in that groove that I got on the bottom that I really love, and that's going to take me 10 or 15 seconds right there. So, and that's having to do everything. Let's just say the legs were already extended somewhat, maybe not perfect, but if you saw a mess of hogs over there and you got the time to set this up, but you gotta get the legs just right, you gotta change the elevation, you gotta do all that stuff. How long does it take?
If you're talking legs completely collapse, like you stand,
sure,
we're talking at least a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least a minute,
sure.
if not longer. The way I usually hunt is I set it up where I'm standing, I put the rifle in and I tighten everything down, and then I walk with legs extended.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point in time, I can set everything down. I can adjust one or two legs at that point, and then I'm solid. Now, whereas I have that benefit because everything's already locked into my tripod, you don't. You're fighting a rifle and a tripod.
Yeah.
So you almost have to have
I gotta unsling my rifle at some point.
You almost have to have a sling with one of these things, or use it just as a monopod. With the way I run, my rifle is stuck. Because if you don't have a sling,
I've never seen anybody have a sling with one of those.
with one of these,
Yeah. I've never seen a sling on the Primos trigger sticks.
no, run. Set
Oh,
this
you mean
up. Set this up without your rifle having a sling on it.
Oh, a sling on my rifle.
Yeah, he's
Correct.
saying
I
strap
got you.
the
I got
rifle.
you. I got you.
Set
Yeah, you're
your
absolutely right.
sticks
I do have. If I don't, I have to set the rifle down.
That's another thing.
You're
So with
absolutely right.
this holds my rifle and everything, and
Yep.
then I can adjust legs.
Yeah.
So it's a pros and cons game.
Yep.
What
I see
kind
what
of
you mean
hunting
now.
are you doing?
Yeah. All right. Well, Matt, what else you want to throw in here, man?
I think that's it. We
Okay.
pretty much covered it.
Well, guys, I hope that this has been informative and helps y'all, and that y'all have a little bit of better idea of what you're getting into if you decide you want to go with one of these, buy one of these. This is what we use. This is what we run. Obviously, we don't sell any of this stuff. We're just trying to do stuff to help out the rest of the community by sharing successes and mistakes that we have had along the way. So, guys, I hope that this helps y'all keep being awesome. So, keep being awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I thought about... I'm in the wrong one.
That's what she said.
That's what he said.
Well, you might have said that.